XYBERJAE here, and I watched this episode and I want you to watch it with me. This is really interesting. Everything you have seen, heard, or know about energy in the world, how it could be free, we don't need oil, is all true. And here's Tucker Carlson interviewing someone about that. Watch the whole entire episode and look at the conspiracy theories, how they were all offed by the oil industries. This is how they stay rich, and this is how the wars keep going. They don't want the wars to end, and they want us poor. They want us dependent, and this is why.
Are you convinced that the U.S. government is totally transparent about energy?
No, I think they're totally opaque about energy.
Really? Tell me.
Oh, yes. I think the U.S. government probably has unlocked 0 point or close to 0 point energy, which would be pulling energy out of the vacuum. We have inventors that have done that over and over and over.
And making energy out of apparently nothing.
Well, we can start with, there's a man named Charles Pogue, who in the 30s tinkered with his carburetor and was able to get 200 miles a gallon. It's proven. It was engineers investigated, scientists. It's totally proven. It worked. He was going to be a zillionaire or whatever. He's just going to transform society. And the problem was, once the news of his engine got out, the oil stocks crashed. They just crashed. So the oil industry
Here it goes.
lobbied the U.S. government, we have to do something about this. And in 1951, the Invention Secrecy Act was passed. So now, if you patent any device that is more than 20% efficient, that's instantly classified. That is now a state secret. It's vital to national security. You can't talk about it. You can't build it. And you can't sell it unless you sell it to the U.S. military. You cannot do it. That went on for a while. And then there was a man named Tom Ogle. And Tom is this is the 70s now. He accidentally rewires his lawnmower engine to take the exhaust and pump it back into the carburetor. And this thing runs on a gallon of gas for 78 hours or something like that. So he reconfigures his car. It's like a 1976 Ford Galaxy, like a boat. And he's getting 200 miles to the gallon on the thing. He's offered $1 billion from an oil-producing country. Shell Oil offers him $25 million for the patent that he considers, but they're going to shelve it, so he says no. It's considered, maybe one of the biggest inventions of the century. Suddenly, Tom, without a history of drug use, stumbles out of a bar. He's drunk and he's killed, and that's the end of Tom Ogle's story. And that all disappears. All that research.
How convenient. Isn't that strange? Or is it a coincidence? Let me know in the comments. Let's keep going.
Church goes away, and this repeats over and over and over again till we get to Stanley Meyer. And you might remember Stanley Meyer and the water car, because this is 1990s now. So now we have a vehicle that we're not even talking about fossil fuels and protecting a multi-trillion-dollar industry. We've got a car that runs on water using electrolysis, which has been around since the 1700s. But electrolysis requires a lot of energy and perfect water without impurities. But Stanley's figured out how to take tap water, put it into his car, and run his car on water. And what it does is splits the water into hydrogen, oxygen, runs on hydrogen. Hydrogen is a fuel, it works. And it works, and he drives it all over the place. It's all over the news. Engineers look at it. They say, this is the invention of the century. This changes everything. He's offered $1 billion and millions of dollars, and everyone wants his engine. And he's sitting at a Cracker Barrel with his brother and some investors, and they raise a glass to toast the new investment to go into the future. And
this is our project management team, and we run everything on...
Oh, come on, nobody cares.
they take their toast and Stanley suddenly doesn't feel well. He runs outside. He starts vomiting. His brother chases after him and says, "What's going on?" And Stanley says, "They poisoned me," and he dies. And in the medical examiner's report, it says he died of an aneurysm. But if you read the report, you can tell the medical examiner didn't really like that, because he wrote some other stuff like, "Oh, he said he was poisoned, but toxicology doesn't really show it." But he says he died of an aneurysm. And that technology is now gone. The patent's useless because Stanley faked the numbers because he didn't trust the government, because he had another invention that most people don't know about before his water car, which was this toroid ring. A toroid is a donut. This donut-shaped ring that he invented that created energy out of nothing and levitated. But he patented it. It got and he got hit with the Secrecy Act, and they made his life miserable. But people started to learn about that, and that brings us. There are other inventors in between. Townsend Brown invents this anti-gravity technology. He runs into all kinds of bad luck. All these men have their research stolen. They're broken into. They're carrying guns. They're threatened. They're disappearing. It happens over and over and over again. I have an episode on this. It's very sad, and we get to Floyd Sparky Sweet. He's my favorite, because his inventions, he videotaped all of his stuff, and you see him in his workshop. And Sparky, he's an engineer. He's a garage tinkerer, but he's an engineer, and this was supervised by the military physicist. Maybe it was a mistake. And you see him running a fan at high RPMs, and then he's got light bulbs, all of this energy, and it's all running off this little box the size of a deck of cards. And he puts in 0.03 milliwatts, and he gets out all the watts you want. It's a device that, no matter what you attach to it, it just, whatever the need is, it will give you the energy. This is Sparky Sweet. This actually connects to UFO technology. I don't know if we'll go there, but it does connect. So Sparky's got this invention. He gets some help from a military physicist. Gets a visit late one night, two men in suits come talk to him, say goodnight. He has a heart attack. Ambulance comes. They grab Sparky. The wife is not allowed in the ambulance. He dies. Soon after, a couple of black vans pull up. They take all his stuff, all his notes, every piece of equipment, and it just disappears. And that's the last we hear of it.
About when was this?
I would say this is late 90s. I mean, Stanley Meyer was 1998. So this is recently, yeah. Sparky may even be more recent than that.
Is there evidence the U.S. government is using any of this technology? Hyper efficient, anti-gravity, levitation, any of this stuff in like military technology?
I mean, you can argue that the Go Fast video, the Tic Tac, some of these could be that. I tend to think they are.
So there was a kind of tantalizing, almost kind of shocking admission the other day from the U.S. government that during the Maduro snatch operation in Caracas on January 3rd, that the U.S. military apparently used directed energy weapons. I don't know that anyone's ever...
He's talking about someone that came out. It was on social media as well. I believe it was a security or one of the securities or bodyguards that may have been taking care of Maduro. And that person came out and actually said everything he saw. Weapons he's never seen before. Weapons that he didn't even know existed or were possible. Practically movie alien-like. Perhaps the ones we have in the cyberpunk world. Let's keep going. Our American military has it all.
Said out loud. I don't know if they said it out loud, but it was obvious that's what it was.
They have been very interested in those since Tesla's research.
So tell us what they are.
Directed energy weapons. With Tesla, he had a few different versions about ionizing air and projecting electricity through the air. He had a few different ways of doing it. And I don't have the science background to explain specifically what it is, but directed energy is just that. You take energy, like a laser would be a directed energy, but using it as a weapon. And Tesla was working on that technology, but what he wanted to do was create free energy for the world, which turned out to be a problem for him. And that's another story, but when he died, so he died, I think it was January 7th, 1943. The FBI was there. They were like on top of it. They came way too fast. And all his research, 60, 80 boxes were confiscated by the Office of Alien Property, which has nothing to do with extraterrestrials. It's about Office of Alien Property because he's not a U.S. born, so they come and take his research. Although he was a citizen since, I don't know, the 1800s. He'd been a citizen 50 years. So they seize his property and they send it to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for a scientist named John Trump to investigate.
Yes, you heard that right. Trump. President Donald Trump's uncle. The MIT professor. Very well known.
Tesla's research, specifically looking...
Later an MIT professor?
Yes, and later an uncle of a president. And they're specifically looking for DEWs. That's the technology they want. They finally return Tesla's boxes.
Are you sure it was John Trump who received Tesla's effects?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
It's documented. What's...
Actually?
Yes. But what's...
You know, for a country of hundreds of millions of people, we have these weird coincidences a lot.
Isn't it strange? And the same families show up over and over? It's probably not the episode to get into the Bush family, but boy, I'd love to one day. Won't do an episode on them. I don't talk about the Bushes or the Clintons on my show. Or Mossad.
Don't talk about the Bushes, the Clintons, or Mossad. Very smart man.
I think you're a wise man. It's
Wise man.
So the boxes return...
wild. Yeah, I've talked to Trump about his uncle like 20 times. He's very proud of his uncle.
The last point on that.
Yeah.
20 boxes are missing. And we don't know where they are. So that's the last point on that. We don't know where the boxes are.
But you're sure it was the same John Trump that the president talks about? He's a long tenured MIT professor. I mean, he talks about him all the
He
time.
brags about him.
All the time.
Yes. And he was connected to military intelligence.
Huh?
Yeah, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the home of Project...
I believe Tucker Carlson is acting dumb here. I don't believe him. I think he's shocked that he knows. But he knows.
Blue Book, UFO research.
So those 20 boxes of Nikola Tesla's research have never surfaced.
They have not.
So can you give us, I know many books have been written on this and, you know, famous company was named after Tesla, of course, and all that, but can you just give us the Cliff's Notes version of his life? You said it didn't end well for him. What did you mean?
He was very focused on free energy for the world. He wanted to usher in sort of a new age for humanity, which free energy certainly would do. He was supported by J.P. Morgan. It was his financier. Tesla was not a good businessman. His rival, Edison, was. He wasn't as talented, but he was good at playing the business game. Tesla was not. So Tesla wanted to create free energy. He was supported by J.P. Morgan and said, I'm close. Tesla demonstrated free energy by, he plugged light bulbs into the ground and had them working. So he demonstrated it. And he said to J.P. Morgan, I just need a little bit more money and we can put energy for everyone can just tap into it. And J.P. Morgan said, well, if energy comes out of the air, where do we put the meter? What do you mean? Free energy, new age of mankind. J.P. Morgan pulls the funding and funds Edison and Marconi instead. And this is Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island where he's doing this research. He goes in default on the mortgage. They tear it down. He dies in poverty in the New Yorker Hotel in 1943. One of the most brilliant...
Across from Penn Station.
Yes, it is.
One of the grim, now a migrant hotel.
Yes, it is.
That's where he died?
That's right. Room 3327.
That's a crummy place to die.
It is. But there's a good White Castle downstairs.
Yeah, I don't think anymore.
Probably not.
Wow. Do we have any sense of what concepts he was working on when he died, or what might have been in those 20 missing boxes?
It was the directed energy weapons that they really wanted. There's a good deal of documentation that the military was interested in that, but specifics, no, we don't have that. We just don't know specifically what were in those boxes. His nephew says it was everything to do with energy.
And just for interest sake, John Trump, the uncle of the current president, longtime MIT professor. Is there any evidence that he worked on the OAP question?
None that I could find, but if you're at Wright-Patterson in the 40s and 50s, that's Project Blue Book, so that's the home base of UFO research. So, whether he's working on it, I can't prove that, but he's certainly passing those guys in the hall. I mean, Blue Book started when, 52? So he's involved. He's there.
We've got a new partner. It's a...
Interesting, isn't it? Every time someone invents something that's going to help the world, they don't want that. They must be assassinated, taken out, poisoned, and the media will just tell you that's what happened. It's all coming out. Everything is a lie. Like, reshare, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment on this video. Let me know what you think. Remember, you are the resistance. XYBERJAE out.